So now you guys can learn how to solve two-step equations, which is really linear equations with more than two operations. So what is a two-step equation? Well, when we solved a linear equation with a rational coefficient, we called that kind of equation a one-step equation because we only had to do one opposite operation. When we solve a linear equation that requires two opposite operations, we call the linear equation a two-step equation. So what are the properties of equality? Well, the addition property of equality says if two numbers equal each other and we add the same number to both sides, the equality doesn't change. The subtraction property of equality says if two numbers equal each other and we subtract the same number from both sides, the equality doesn't change. The multiplication property of equality says if two numbers are equal to each other and we multiply the same number on both sides, the equality doesn't change. The division property of equality says if two numbers equal each other and we divide by the same number on both sides, the equality doesn't change. So the big idea is if you operate by the same number on both sides of the equal sign, the equality between the quantities stays true. How do we solve a two-step equation with addition and multiplication? To solve this type of equation, we subtract the constant from both sides using the subtraction property of equality, and then we divide both sides by the coefficient using the division property of equality. So for example, we have 2x plus 3 and want to solve for x. So we subtract 3 from both sides, and we get 2x equals 4, and we divide by 2 on both sides, so x equals 2. So we're using the subtraction property and the division property of equality for this example. So how do you solve a two-step equation with rational coefficients and subtraction? So all you're going to do is you're going to add the constant to both sides using the addition property of equality. You find the multiplicative inverse of the rational coefficient, so this goes back to the night before. And we use the inverse property of multiplication and the multiplication property of equality to find the value of the variable. So in this example, it says solve for n. So we're doing 25 equals 1/4 n minus 3. So we're going to add 3 to both sides using the addition property of equality. Now we're down to 1/4 n equals 28. We are used to this because of last night. So we find the multiplicative inverse of 1/4, and that is 4. So we multiply both sides by 4. And we get n equals 112 because we have 28 times 4, which is 112, which you can see here. And we use the inverse property of multiplication to get the coefficient in front of n down to 1. And we use the multiplication property of equality to multiply 4 on both sides. So how do you solve a two-step equation with multiplication and subtraction? Basically, if you have multiplication and subtraction, you're going to add the constant to both sides using the addition property of equality, and you're going to divide both sides of the equation using the division property of equality by the coefficient. So in this example, we're going to solve for x. Now we have 6 minus 3x equals 21. We're going to rewrite it so we have the variable first, so that we know that subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative, so we get 6 plus negative 3x equals 21. Addition is commutative, so we can rewrite it saying negative 3x plus 6 equals 21. We subtract 6 from both sides using the subtraction property of equality. We divide by negative 3 on both sides by division property of equality, and we get x equals negative 5. And that is the end of the video.